This story is about love, deception, and a sordid twist of events. It was a beautiful day out. The sky was clear, it was cool, and Derek was doing his usual morning jog. Except there was nothing usual about this day. In fact, this, I guess, is what you would refer to as they meet cute. While jogging, he decided to stop, or after jogging rather, he decided to stop off at his favorite food truck or vendor where they sell freshly squeezed juice. And that's where he met her. He met Joy, a beautiful, beautiful woman who happened to be jogging as well. And judging by her interaction with the vendor, she knew this route very well. She knew she had been here before. And so he struck up a conversation with her. And they got to talking and this, that, and the other. Eventually, they parted ways. They went jogging again and ran into each other again and again. And Derek eventually felt, you know what? I've been a gentleman. Which he absolutely is. I've been reserved, but I'm really into this woman. I'm going to ask her out. And so he does. And that lunch after their morning jog turns into many more lunches and dinner and breakfasts. Derek's best friend Kenneth comes into town and they have not seen each other for a minute. Now, these are childhood friends. They are tight. They know everything about everything as far as each other is concerned. I mean, Kenneth was like a brother. He was absolutely like a brother. So when he got into town, he hit Derek up immediately like, bro, I'm in town. We need to go for a drink. Let's catch up. And of course, Derek was like, you don't even have to ask when are we meeting? And they scheduled it for the following day, keeping it casual, bar, cool. The following day, after work, Derek rushes inside and he notices Joy in the kitchen cooking dinner. And not just any meal, but his favorite meal. And now he's panicked. He's freaking out. Like, did I not tell her that I was going out for dinner? Did I what? So he immediately approaches her like, no, babe. I told you I was going for dinner, didn't I? With Kenneth, my boy, he's in town. Please, you don't have to cook. I could have ordered in for you. I could bring something back for you. Why are you stressing yourself? Now, Joy's reaction was a little weird. She looked at him and she said, you were serious about that? And he said, yes, I was. Yeah, I'm serious. I'm going to meet my boy. I told you about it. She very quickly changed her tune. She was like, no, I'm just joking. Of course. No, I was making this so that tomorrow we have something to eat. Don't worry about it. Go out and enjoy. Now, the thing is, he could kind of sense that when he left, she was a bit off with him. Anyway, he gets to the bar. He has a good time with his boy. They catch up. Now, Kenneth is that friend who loves a good time. He knows good things. He loves beautiful women. He's here. He has good taste. His standards are high. Kenneth is that guy. He's about the soft life. He's about the business. He just is that guy. And so when they meet, it's just vibes, catching up, talking about everything that's been going down. And of course, he's telling Derek about all these women he's met. He's just having a good time as a bachelor, this, that, and the other. What can Derek say? That's his boy and he loves him. He absolutely loves him. And so the topic of their relationship, or Derek's relationship, or love life rather, comes up. And he tells him about Joy. He says, look, I've met a woman. I'm happy. I don't know where it's going, but she gets me. I love our chemistry. She's a fitness person just like me. We're cool. We get each other and I'm really feeling her. She spends a lot of time at my place. She's pretty much moved in. So, he was like, I'm feeling her. And he says, okay, well, before I go, we need to meet. I really want to meet her. And of course, Derek wants his boy to meet his new thing. So 2 days later, before Kenneth has to leave, they all meet up for lunch. So when they get there, or rather, Derek and Joy get there first. Kenneth meets them, and of course, when they meet up, it's, hey, bro, how are you? You know how men are. Da, 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 da. And he politely, respectfully greets Joy. As the date continues, he starts to look at her like, no, I know this face, man. I know this face. I know I'm not seeing this woman for the first time. And so he's looking at her and he asks her, don't I know you from somewhere? And she's like, no. If you and I knew each other, I wouldn't forget you. You've got a very distinct personality. And they all laugh it off because it's true. Kenneth has got that personality you're just not going to mistake. Like, you're never going to forget Kenneth when you meet him. And so they leave it at that. About 3 weeks later, Derek and Joy are chilling in the lounge. They're having dinner, just, watching TV, doing what couples do. And Derek's phone rings. So he gets up and he answers it away from Joy, but still in ears distance that Joy could hear the conversation. And of course, it's Kenneth. And he picks up the phone and he's like, Kenneth, are you good? What's going on? And Kenneth lets him know, look, that Airbnb that you suggested, we went and we checked it out. It wasn't great, but we found another one. We've put the deposit down. So we've got a place. We've secured a place for where we'll be staying. Derek and Kenneth's good friend Lele are getting married. She's another childhood friend. The three of them were really close growing up. And so now they're about to fly out for her wedding. So, look, Derek trusts Kenneth. Again, he's got that good taste. He's not going to put them in some dodgy spot. No, he's going to make sure they have the best of the best. Everything they need is there. They're taken care of. That's just who Kenneth is. So he agrees to it. And he's like, no, it's cool. Cool, we'll send our money through. Thank you for letting me know. Before Derek drops the phone, Kenneth is like, oh, Derek, hold on, bro, hold on. And Derek's like, what's up? And he says to him, last night, I don't know why it came to mind, but I figured out where I know Joy from, or where I saw Joy. And he's like, where? And he said, that night you and I went out to the bar for drinks. And I went to the bathroom. When I came out in the corner booth, I'm 90% sure she was sitting there. I'm 90% sure she was sitting there. She had her head down, but no, I saw her. I know I saw her. And Derek's like, nah, no, she can't be. I left her at the house. I think you've got it twisted. I think you've made a mistake. And Kenneth's like, oh, okay, maybe I have made a mistake. I mean, it's very possible. And he drops the phone. Derek is a little uneasy because it's one of two things. Kenneth is lying, but he knows Kenneth not to be a liar. Or it's something worse, that Joy went there to watch them that night. Why? Why would she do that? The following weekend, they fly out and they get to the Airbnb. And of course, one of their other friends, another couple, was staying with them. So it was Agnes and Mike, who were a couple. Kenneth comes out with a beautiful looking woman from Ethiopia. This is just Kenneth's style. This is him. This is him. Beautiful things, beautiful woman, it's him. And of course, Joy arrives with Derek. So they go inside, they, have good day just chilling, getting to know each other. And then the following day is the big day. It's Lele's wedding. Now, her wedding was everything. It was beautiful, it was classy, it was glamorous, it was intimate, and it was really everything she wanted. And of course, at the church service, being that they all grew up together, Derek's mom was very good friends, still is, with Lele's mom. So it was really just a family union, and this was the opportunity for Derek to introduce Joy to his mother. Now, when they got to the church, everything was a bit hectic, so he couldn't introduce her there. So, of course, the reception was the place. And here she is trying to fix herself up, trying to look all cute and make sure that she goes there and she makes a good impression. And then she goes over to Derek's mother. And Derek's mother is such a lady. She is such a lady. Oh, my goodness. And she raised her son very well. So when she gets there, Joy gets there, she's polite, but very reserved. She doesn't say much. She's really just trying to observe Joy. Who is this girl dating my son? She's really trying to figure her out. So when they approach the mom, the first thing the mom says to Derek is, so you don't answer my calls anymore? And he's like, Mom, no, I haven't missed any call. When did you call? And she said 2 days ago. And he was like, no, I didn't see any missed call. I'm sorry. They speak every day. So this was news to him. No, every other day, every couple of days. So he was a bit like, oh, no, I didn't see your missed call. When they're walking away, Joy immediately says to Derek, I don't think your mom likes me. And he's like, just relax. My mom is just one of those people, when you meet her, she's very, reserved. You'll warm up to her, she'll warm up to you. They spend the rest of that reception just having a good time, drinking champagne, taking pictures, eating cake, just doing the most. Whew. The following day, Joy wakes up in bed. Her head is spinning. The sun is shining into the room. And she lays there for a while and turns over, and Derek isn't there. And so she waits for a while, and then she decides to go and look for him. As she starts approaching the kitchen, she hears quite a few voices. And so she realizes, oh goodness, I have clearly overslept. Everybody is up. But then she hears her name. And so she starts walking towards the kitchen very carefully, quietly. And she stands at the door and she listens. And she can hear Agnes saying, no, I really like her. I think she's a really, really, really nice person. She's sweet. She's really pretty. You guys seem very happy together. You're both into that fitness thing. You've got a lot in common. And Derek's like, but... And Agnes is going to be honest with him. She tells him, I find her to be just a little clingy. But each to their own. Everybody likes or has their own vibe. I just don't understand what the clinginess is about. And Derek, jokingly says, but isn't that how all women are? And she's like, absolutely not. As much as I love Mike, there are days I'm not trying to see his face. And they laugh about it. Kenneth doesn't find anything funny about it at all. In fact, he chimes in at this point and he lets them know, I told him the first day I met him, I told him, bro, be ready to wife that girl. She does not look like she's trying to go anywhere. She's here with him. She watches him carefully. She's very protective over him. I wouldn't even be surprised if, she were to cuff him and they were to walk around like this. Mike thinks that comment is a little bit too personal. So he checks him. He says, Kenneth, come on, man. And Kenneth's like, no, I'm sorry. I'm serious, though. I'm absolutely serious. I mean, she's hectic. She's really, really hectic. Like, she's not trying to let Derek out her sight. I would not even be surprised if baby girl was standing outside this door as we were speaking. And they all kind of laughed it off like, no, now you're being too much, Kenneth. No, now you're being too much. And Agnes decides, you know what? I'm going to get up and see just to see. She gets up and she walks towards the door, the kitchen door. She hears the floorboard creaking. But of course, when she opens the door, nobody's there. Here's the thing about a seed. When planted, it takes root. They get back from the wedding festivities and they're back in town. And Derek is not feeling too good about the conversation him and his friends had. Just to be clear, he was not completely oblivious to Joy and how dependent she was and how much she loved spending time with him. But I guess he kind of felt like that's just how it is at the beginning, new couples. even though they'd been dating for a minute. Maybe that's just how she expresses her emotions. He was trying to excuse the red flags without even realizing it. The following morning, she wakes up and she hears the shower water going. And she gets up and she goes to the bathroom and she's like, babe, what's going on? Is everything okay? And he's like, yeah, no, mom just messaged me. She wants to see me for breakfast. Yeah, I'm just going to step out for a minute. And she's like, okay, cool. He gets there to the restaurant where he meets his mom. Now, his mom, Derek and his mom are very close. There's nothing they don't talk about. They're very close. And that's why it was a shock to her that she hadn't heard from him in those 2 days. Gets to the restaurant and they start talking. She asks him about the wedding. He asks her how she found the wedding. Just a catch up, a general catch up. And then the mom gets to it. So tell me about this woman you're dating. And he tells her, oh no, this is how we met, this, that, and the other. But a mother's intuition. She knows her child. She knows her son. She knows there is something he wants to say. She knows it. She can feel it. And so she says, what's really on your mind? What's going on? And he tells her a bit about the conversation his boys were having. He left out some of the things Ken said. But he said he had noticed that, she was a little bit possessive and a little bit clingy and dependent. And he just felt like, I don't even know her friends. I do not know her friends. Does she have friends? Because every time we're supposed to go out with her friends, something always comes up. Friends cancel. We can't do it. It's just, I don't even know what's really going on. And the mom lets him know at that moment, listen, Derek, it is never healthy, whether it is the woman or the man, it is never healthy for somebody to become the center of your world. It's not. That's a toxic relationship. And you've got to be very careful because it puts so much pressure on the other person. And quite frankly, things happen. Things happen. And if things don't work out, it becomes awkward. It can become dangerous. It can just become unpleasant for both parties. So she advised him to just be careful. To be careful and to be cautious because, yeah, just be careful. That was her advice. Just be careful. And they got to talking about it more. Eventually, the mom gets up and she goes to the bathroom. Now, Derek does something that he doesn't usually do. He decides to track her location. He tracks her location and it's pinning from he cannot believe it. He's shocked. He's confused. He thinks, he keeps on retrying like, no, this is a mistake. This has to be a mistake. So he keeps on checking. And sure enough, it keeps on tracking and pinning from the restaurant. He tries to be calm about it. He looks around to see if he can spot her. No, nothing. He tries not to bring attention, and he doesn't say anything to his mother. He gets back from that breakfast with the mom, and he finds Joy laying in bed. He sees her, and he's like, so what's up? How are you? And she's like, no, I'm good. And he's like, so what did you get up to today? And she's like, no, babe, I just lazed around. I hope you don't mind. I'm not cooking today, this, that, and the other. And he asks her, so why was your location pinning from the restaurant I was at? And she's like, excuse me? And he says, you heard me, Joy. Why was your location pinning from the restaurant? Then she kicks into, okay, I've been caught. So change of plan. She's like, look, ever since we came back from our trip, you've been acting a little weird. You've been acting a bit funny and distant. And yeah, I want to know what's going on. I just felt like, we're always together. And now I feel like you want to do more things without me. He's looking at her, listening to her justify this. And he says, Joy, 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 Joy. You can't possibly be trying to justify what you're doing. I would never do something like that. Do you know how unsettling that is? You're telling me you can't trust me, so now you have to sneak around and store. Like, that's not okay. Do you understand that's not okay? Oh, they get into a big argument. She's not stepping down. She's trying to explain it. She's trying to make sure that he gets a point. He's not getting it because he does not feel by any means does she have the right or any leg to stand on to be doing things like that. Eventually, he's like, Joy, you've just got to go back to your apartment. This fight is getting nasty. I need us to just, let's just do this for a moment. I need time to think. Please, babe, go to your apartment. Let's not let this get more out of hand. And she leaves grudgingly. Next week for Derek is a very, very awkward, uncomfortable week. His phone is ringing off the hook. Joy won't stop calling. She won't stop texting. She showed up once at his apartment. Like, she is doing the most. She is going crazy. She's going crazy. Like, there is no ways this relationship can be over. Why is he treating her this way? Does he not understand? She loves him. He just needs to see it. This, that, and the other. Can't he see my point? Like, she can't let it go. Eventually, he decides to change his route while jogging because he doesn't want to run into her. The whole thing is a mess. Then one day after work, he gets home. He takes a shower. He gets something to eat. He watches a bit of TV in the living room and then decides to lock up. Now he goes to the kitchen area, checks, goes around the house, checks, but he notices that there is a chip on the window, like somebody had been fiddling with the window. As he leans forward to see what is going on here, bang, he hits the floor. He wakes up in what looks like a shed. His ankle chained to the wall, cans of food next to him, a bucket next to him, some water next to him. He does not know what has happened. Guys, you can only imagine the fear and the thoughts going through his head, besides the fact that his head is throbbing. The fear going through his mind. What is going on? Now, back at his apartment, Joy is playing Mrs., acting like nothing has happened. Now, Derek's mom hadn't heard from him in 2 days. And so she decides, no, I'm going to rock up and I'm going to pop up on him because clearly now that he has a girl, he's acting, I don't know, I'm going to go and check up on my son. And so she gets there. When Joy answers the door, she immediately gets the sinking feeling. Her gut instinct tells her something is not right. So she greets her and she's like, oh, Joy, where's Derek? Sorry, how are you? And she's like, no, I'm good. Derek actually went for a jog. I think he's going to be back much later, though. He usually loves to go and get this and that and this. Would you like me to ask him to call you? And she says, no, I'll wait. And she pushes past into the apartment. Now she tries to look around to see if there's anything suspicious without acting suspicious. They go and they sit down. And they chat. And she waits and they chat more and she waits and she waits and she waits. And the longer she waits, the more she feels like there's something not right. So eventually she says to her, okay, well, I'm going to leave. Please just ask Derek to call me immediately when he gets back. And she says, of course I will. I'll let him know. She leaves the apartment. As soon as she gets to the car, her hands are shaking like this. She is shaking. She calls Kenneth and she lets him know, Kenneth, something has happened to Derek. And she tells him everything, the conversation they had at lunch, what's going, like she just tells him, I just know it, I feel it. Later on that evening, the shed door opens. Joy walks in like nothing has happened. This is the first time it's occurring to Derek what's really going on. And he looks at her, carrying grocery bags as if this is nothing, this is normal. And he says, Joy, what's going on? What are you doing? She says, well, right now, I'm going to make you a sandwich. and then we need to talk. And he's trying to engage her. He's trying to figure out what. She ignores him as she makes the sandwich, pours him a glass of milk, and then she pushes it over to him. Of course, he doesn't eat it. He's looking at her. He needs answers, and he wants them now. Joy, what is going on? How long have I been here? And she's like, 2 days. Why? Why would you do that? Why? She doesn't even answer that question. She immediately starts talking about his friend, Kenneth. She lets him know, I never liked Kenneth from the day I met him. I could tell he was nothing but trouble. He's looking at her like, can you hear me? And so he asks her another question. She doesn't answer. He asks her another question, and she continues to talk about how Kenneth is this problem, how he started this whole issue, and she heard the conversation in the kitchen, this, that, and the other, completely ignoring what Derek has to say. Eventually, Derek asks, how long are you going to keep me here? She looks at him and she says, well, I haven't thought that far, but the truth of the matter is, what I do know is that I love you, and I've invested so much into this relationship. I've invested into you. I've invested into us. Yes, we may have our issues. You may not get me. You may not understand the way I love you, but I do love you. Then she goes on to let him know, I have given you everything. I have given you so much of me physically, mentally, emotionally, and now you just want to walk away. She says, no, you are not walking away. You're not. You are going to love me, and we will stay here together as long as it takes. You are not leaving me. You are not leaving me.